general message?
You know, pretty much the usual. Season, of course, didn't go the way we wanted it to. Had a lot of adversity, dealing with a lot of injuries. Of course, the elephant in the room, the trade, talked about stuff like that. And then just, mindset of coming back next year and just being better. That's the main thing. Being better in health, being better in mental, emotionally, all of the above, for sure.
Daniel, how hard was it to balance all of the emotions involved with the trade in the middle of a season with the grind that is an NBA season like that too?
It was tough, but at the end of the day, it's the job. When it comes to the emotion side of it, you really kind of have to bury a good amount of them because, the trade can happen and you might have a game the next day. So it's kind of like you got to turn the page pretty quick.
Gaff, you mentioned the adversity. When you look back, what are you most proud of this team for?
Oh, man, we kept fighting throughout everything that we were dealing with, whether it was injuries or just, in all honesty, just, all around obstacles that we had to deal with throughout the season. That was pretty much just the main thing. We stayed resilient and we came into the arena day in, day out, no matter who was hurt, no matter who was playing, no matter who was on minute restriction. We came in with, one thing we focused on, and that was just coming out and just winning the basketball game.
And when it comes to the negativity that came post-trade, how difficult was it just as a player knowing that wasn't a decision y'all made, but you had to deal with that?
It was tough, but I think deep down, we know as players that, I don't think anybody was, trying to target us, even though at times it felt like it. But we just had to stay strong for ourselves, for the organization, and just in general. So we just had to take it one step at a time. I'm pretty sure it was hard for a certain amount of people. But like I said, it's a business. This is our job. Every day we got to come in and we just have to kind of follow suit and just be ready for, what happens next, pretty much.
What is your number one off-season priority, personally and professionally?
Personally, just, better health, mentally, physically, so the main two things. Making sure all my people are happy off of the court. Basketball-wise, of course, just taking that next step and just, my craft and just being better, I didn't like the way that my last game this season kind of went, and that was only just because, not using it as an excuse, but just trying to figure out ways to just get back into the flow of the game after my injury. It was kind of rough at the time, but figuring that out, and then, of course, looking back onto this season, there's a lot of things that I can learn from it for sure.
Do you think next season will start to feel normal again, just playing home games in the AC? Do you think it's just going to continue to be this is kind of a weird experience?
I think I'm going to leave that up to the fans, in all honesty. When it comes to me, everything is always natural to me, no matter what happens throughout this league, because, like I always say, I'm probably like a broken record now. It's a business, When it comes to feelings and emotions, yes, of course, it's something that, you can have, but it's really not, I would say, paid attention to when it comes to just kind of like an everyday thing for us. So when it comes to that, you just have to come in and just have the mindset to just go out and play winning basketball and just be happy with it, for sure.
The trade notwithstanding, was this season a reminder of just how fragile things are in this league and how things can change and how much luck sometimes enters into it?
Oh yeah, it can change at the snap of a finger, but we all, I think as players, we understand that and we are always ready for it, no matter, who we are or what team we're playing for.
Anything you're particularly proud of looking back at the season, either personally or for the team?
For the team, just, how everybody held strong with so many bodies being out at one point in time. I think it was at one point in time we played with 8 players. That's tough. I've been in a situation when I was in Washington and we had a couple of injuries to where we only had to play with 7. It's not easy to just come out and just be able to play. I think that game I played a full 48 minutes. I was destroyed the next day. But I give props to the guys because, they came in every day and they did their work. They stuck to just the pretty much game plan that we've always talked about, the philosophy that we always harped on, you know, just the chemistry and trust that we always talk about before meetings and film, so on and so forth. So, I mean, I give props to them because they came out and they fought every day, for sure. And just me personally, I really can't say, you know, the injury kind of, you know, I feel like set me back. And, of course, I could have crashed and I could have taken a step back and maybe put myself into a dark place, but I feel like I, you know, took a step in the right direction mentally. You know, of course, there were lapses to where it felt like, you know, I wasn't going to be back in time, or I wasn't going to be the same person. But, you know, I came in here every day and I stuck to my rehab program, and I just wanted to make sure that I came back as best as I possibly could to just, you know, be able to do the things that we did at the, for the rest of like the season that we had played, for sure.
What will you remember most about the way Jason Kidd led after February 1st?
What I remember most, I mean, he just came in and basically did the same thing that he usually do. You know, he came in and just gave energy throughout all the speeches that he usually would give, and just made sure that we all stayed motivated and encouraged. You know, a lot of stuff that was thrown at everybody throughout the season. So there's no telling when somebody was going to crack. There's no telling when somebody was going to crash or just lose it. And I feel like he was just like the first person to kind of like, you know, bring everybody back together for sure. And then everybody else followed suit after.
Thanks, guys.